One of my personal highlights of the New War update was getting a brand new bow. I love bows, and the Nataruk ticks all the right boxes. It may be traditional style when it comes to base functionality, but it brings a brand new skill-based mechanic, and I saw all sorts of raving opinions on this one. That it's the most powerful primary in the game, that it's the best thing since ketchup, but is it really? Hey guys, welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar, and today we're going to be diving deeper into the Nataruk bow. I'm going to have two builds which we're going to be focusing on, a quick shot build and a perfect shot build. Now, this is not exactly a new player-friendly weapon, simply because you need to go through a whole lot of quests to actually get this one, so we're going to be skipping some of the usual bits. So without further ado, let's jump into the Nataruk. Let's begin by checking out how the weapon functions without any mods equipped. The Nataruk is a traditional style bow that you can get by finishing or playing the New War questline, and it's a doozy of a bow. It can fire 3 types of shots. First off is going to be quick shot. Now in this mode, it's a traditional style bow. You fire a projectile, but there is no drop off to this one. You see that? Normally with bows you get that arcing drop off, not in this case. Steady as a rock, no recoil whatsoever, pinpoint accuracy, fantastic. Now, of course, as with most traditional style bows, you can charge them up and you can release a fully charged shot. When you release a fully charged shot, you will notice you fire a projectile. Now, that's a thick boy. Basically, it makes it very easy for you to land specific headshots. Not that you would want to land specific headshots, since the weapon has no headshot multiplier for charge shots and perfect shots. Perfect shots, you say? What are those? Well, there's a third shot type. If you take a look at the reticle, which is charging, you have a little bit of an indication, a section where you can release the shot early, and you're going to be getting yourself more critical chance and critical damage. Not more damage per se, no. There's no damage difference between the charge shot and the perfect shot, but you do get more critical chance and critical damage. It's pretty easy to execute, it's a pretty large telemark, and it adds a little bit of skill play when it comes to the bow. And again, the projectile is a thicker boy. One last thing, you probably saw explosions, right? It's AoE. It's really not AoE. Every time that projectile catches a surface or something, it looks like it explodes like that, but we're going to be spawning in a few targets just so you can see. It doesn't have any explosion damage per se. It has AoE in the sense that it's a fat projectile, definitely, but it doesn't do any AoE per se. As you can see, I'm exploding at this corrupted heavy goon's feet. There is no additional damage, but I can aim well above the head like that, and I'm still getting the damage on simply because, again, the projectile is thick. One last advantage to those charge shots, they have infinite body punch-through. Look at that. It keeps going. Not through walls, mind you, okay? Body punch-through means that it's gonna be going through enemies, but not through walls. It does stop in objects like that. And I do believe, my friends, that is pretty much it. Let's hop into stats to have a closer look at what we're dealing with. Now, the Nataruk bow comes with fantastic accuracy. As you saw there, it's a pinpoint accurate weapon. Not only that, you get the thick projectile, which makes it easy to aim. Easy to aim, yes, but again, you don't have headshot multiplier for charge shots and perfect shots, but you do have headshot multiplier for the quick shots. When it comes to arcanes, this is a very simple discussion. If you're going to be using in tandem with your melee, go for dexterity. If not, go to merciless, because most of your targets are going to be dying under the effects of viral slash. Deadhead, not exactly the best of ideas in this case, since it's not the bow to go for a brute strength approach. Doesn't mean you can't, it just means it's not the most optimal idea. Charge rate is gonna be 1. Basically, like any other bow, we're gonna get back to this charge rate because it is important how it interacts with the weapon's mechanics and how we can build it. We got a magazine of 1, noise alarming, it's not a silent bow, boo, and all that good stuff. Reload of 0-1. What the hell is this reload of 0-1? Now, the reload on bows is the time it takes the Warframe to pull an arrow from the quiver, and the delay of the Nataruk firing quick shots is about 0.5 seconds. Have a look, I'm meaning this delay. You can bind your rapid fire to your scroll wheel and fire like so. And it's gonna be relevant later on when I show you guys a quick shot build. Riven disposition is Garbo, it's a brand new weapon, it's not really worth getting a Riven for this one. Don't get me wrong, you can still get worthwhile Rivens, but they're gonna cost an arm and a leg, or you can get super lucky. Honestly, considering all the fantastic mods we can build this weapon with, you don't really need a Riven right now. Wait for the dispo to go up, if it will go up. Let's take a look at damage for a second. Of course, the layout is going to be basically the same. You got puncture and slash, and the critical chance and critical damage will be changing depending on the shot you're going to be using, as well as the status chance. So for example, on quick shot, only 20% base critical chance, but on the charge shot, 50%. Perfect shot, 60%. Multiplier on the quick shot, only 1.8, but 2.2 on the charge shot and 2.4x on the perfect shot. Status chance go to 50% and 50% for the superior shots. The normal one stays at only 30. The damage is double. Okay, the base damage is double from quick shot to charge shot and perfect shot. Again, notice that the actual damage value doesn't really change between charge shot and perfect shot. So what do you get? You get basically a bit more critical chance, 60%, and 0.2x critical multiplier. Honestly, it's not that really big of a deal. And speaking about big deals, you should definitely unlock the weapon XL slot, and in this one, the obvious choice is going to be terminal velocity with 60% projectile flight speed. This means less leading your targets on. This is a projectile-based attack. Terminal velocity makes your life a whole lot easier. And of course, increases in usabilities are hard to actually calculate when it comes to actual DPS, but the projectile moves faster, therefore better DPS. Now, I said before, there are two ways to build the weapon. You got your perfect shot build and your quick shot. Let's go for the obvious route first with perfect shot. It's not like a new player can get this one, but if you stumble across the vid and you're a newer player to Warframe and simply want to see what Nataruk is all about, replace the galvanized mods if you don't have them. Galvanized chamber has a normal counterpart called split chamber. As for galvanized aptitude, it does have a normal counterpart, which is not really worth using. I would suggest instead you add a little bit of fire rate, definitely, or a little bit of multi-shot depending on your preference. You can never go wrong with multi-shot. Now, of course, this is an obvious build. You got your serration, you got your multi-shot, you got critical chance, critical damage, you got the 260-60 vital mods together with hunter munitions and galvanized aptitude, terminal velocity, and primary merciless. Now, my friends, what I failed to mention about the quick shot mode is that it has forced impact procs. Fantastic, right? Now, if it has forced impact procs, then it makes it a prime candidate for internal bleeding. Definitely, but only the quick shots. The perfect shots and the charge shots do not have that guaranteed impact proc. So for this reason, we're going to be using hunter munitions and we're going to be using internal bleeding in the quick shot build. Well, I think that's pretty much it. Let's throw in a test against level 120 Corrupted Heavy Goon. I will make one mention if you're going high level content, and when I say high level, I don't mean up until level 150. Up until level 150, even 200, something like this is smarter simply because you do need the front-loaded damage guaranteed by Oscillation. Galvanized Aptitude and Primary Merciless will simply mean better clear time. But if you're actually going high level, then I would swap out the damage mod, Serration, 100% for something like a Bane mod or a Fire Rate mod, depending on what you're more comfortable with. But we'll get to Fire Rate just a tad later. For now, let's respawn the Corrupted Heavy Goons level 120. Now you see Volt's passive does add a little bit of damage, but honestly, it's nothing significant. So again, this is a charge shot build, take a look at that. A single shot in my enemy! 2 slashes, 3 vitals, absolutely destroyed, man. And from this point onwards, I'm basically building stats, since this is a galvanized build. As before, I can make use of that glorious body punch through, and as you can see, the weapon absolutely wrecks high-level targets. Fantastic. I mean, and from this point onwards, it just gets better and better. So good that the impact damage alone is good enough to absolutely destroy whatever stands before you. You don't even need the procs. Yes. Isn't it juicy? Isn't it yummy? One more time for your viewing pleasure, just to make sure it wasn't a fluke or anything. Quick shot to get rid of Volt's passive. I mean, what more do you want from your mama? Oh, I still go for headshots out of reflex, but you don't need to. Simply go for body shots. Look at that. Beautiful. Absolutely fantastic. Now, of course, you can get unlucky with the procs sometimes, but to be honest, the bow absolutely wrecks house. Now, my friends, let's head on over to Steel Path so you can see this one in an actual gameplay environment. Welcome to the Void, my friends, and we're going to be fighting level 120, 30-ish Steel Path Corrupted enemy. So basically, a little bit of everything which I believe why this is a very, very good test for the Nataruk. Now, keep in mind that with this bow and this whole perfect shot mechanic, it can release something like release anxiety, right? You want to release the shot simply because it got to that perfect stage and you don't want to go to a full charge shot. But you know what? Going to a full charge shot is really not all that bad. What do you lose? 10% critical chance as a base and about 10% critical damage. So again, it's not that big of a deal. Take a look at that. Beautiful damage, absolutely annihilating that Steel Path corrupted heavy goon. Keep in mind that you can also cancel your shots by pressing R, my friends, pressing R. Of course, the body punch through is the real benefit of those perfect shots. So if you got something to clump up your enemies, like a Vauban, a Nidus, or something along those lines, you're gonna be able to make really good use out of that fantastic mechanic. As for the weapon, as you can see, it absolutely wrecks house with no problem whatsoever. Now, I still got a few things to show you guys, so back to the simulacrum. Next topic on the list is fire rate on the bow. Fire rate may seem like a no-brainer. If I go for fire rate, like so, let's say we're gonna be going, what fire rate mod do you prefer? You can go with speed trigger and 60% fire rate. Obviously, this would be the highest value. Of course, it's 2 times for bows. But you can also go with prime shred. It's 55% times 2, of course, so you do lose 10%. Instead of the speed trigger, you go to 110 instead of 120 on this one. But you get the 2.2 meters worth of punch through. Is it worth it though? Is it actually worth it on a perfect shot build? Well, you got infinite body punch through, but with this one you can go for walls, so there is that. And besides, the difference is minute. So you know what? Go with whatever fire rate mod you like. Let's go with prime shred, and of course we're going to be swapping out serration. Alright, my friends. So when you're dealing with this one, it may seem a whole lot easier for you, depending again on the player, it's highly subjective on this one, to release perfect shot after perfect shot. Look at that, the charge rate is a lot faster than before. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh my god, I'm getting my stacks on. Look at all that damage, I love it, it's beautiful. And you know what, you can get into a rhythm with the weapon. How fast does it charge? So you can be able to release perfect shot after perfect shot after perfect shot. But my friends, this is a subjective thing. You may have a fantastically easy time with some additional fire rate on the weapon, in which case you can benefit from the extra DPS, yes, and the cool effect, as you know, you look like Hawkeye or whatever else. But objectively speaking, it is easier to get consistent perfect shots without additional fire rate on the weapon, simply because the charging reticle goes slower, so you have more time to release the arrow at the opportune time. Fire rate on this one is a tad on the subjective side. While it may objectively offer you more DPS, it really depends on how good you are with releasing the arrow at the opportune time. And again, there's something called release anxiety, because I can't call it anything else. You know, you charge your weapon, you're not in the ideal position to aim at your enemy, but you release it anyway because it's already perfect and you don't want to go to a charge shot. What I would do in such situations is just go to a charge shot. It's not really that big of a deal, so do bear that one in mind. Alright, so what are the options for the build, my friends? Of course, a Bane mod if you're gonna do super high level. Bane mods, I really hate encouraging something like this. Instead of the flat damage mod, instead of serration or amalgam serration, or you can go with fire rate. That's also a pretty good idea. Now, let's talk about a quick shot build. I didn't see a whole lot of people talk about this one, but it is definitely viable simply because you got those forced impact procs, and we can use internal bleeding. Now, when using internal bleeding, my friends, do you get the 70% chance on a bow, or do you get a 35% chance on a bow? Opinions vary, and the math behind it kind of says something of the following. As long as your bow doesn't have a charge rate below 0.4, you should be good for the 70%. Now, I tested this, and it does seem to work fine. So again, we should be getting on the Nataruk the full 70% chance to get that slash. And of course, no hunter munitions in this case. Furthermore, what about critical chance? You see, I use critical delay on this one, and in the perfect shot build, I use point strike. I think minus fire rate on the Nataruk, especially on a perfect shot build, is stupid. On a quick shot build is not relevant because we're never really gonna charge the weapon. What we're gonna be doing is spamming quick shots. This. Okay, and fire rate is irrelevant to that. You can add plus, you can add minus, it doesn't really matter all that much. Add, minus, or subtract. Fire rate is not really gonna matter when it comes to the spam. What will matter, however, is this, reload speed. Reload speed will directly affect how much you can spam in quick shot mode. Again, reload speed is the time it takes the Warframe to pull an arrow from the trigger, from the quiver, but this doesn't have a quiver. This has infinite ammo, so basically it just increases the spam rate, if you will. Keep in mind, you can bind your fire to your scroll wheel. That's the way you can spam that fast. You can also use a macro if you wish, though the stance on macros is not exactly fantastic. It is, and I quote, "You do so at your own risk." Link in the cards right now if you don't believe me. The build is the same with the same options as before. Instead of the amalgam serration, instead of the flat damage mod, you guys can add something like a Bane mod. You can fire rate is not really a smart idea though, so a Bane mod, or maybe even you would like to try a little bit more multi-shot. I love multi-shot, honestly. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It adds a whole lot of DPS, it helps with procs and everything, so you can even go for something like Vigilante Armaments. Alright, enough about that. Oh, and of course, Galvanized Aptitude. I forgot about this one. Now, Galvanized Aptitude would definitely make a whole lot more sense on high-level targets instead of Serration or Amalgam Serration, but I would need to reformat the weapon, and then I couldn't showcase the perfect shot build ideally. It's a bit of a balancing act to be able to show you both of the builds without reformatting in between recording sessions. So, bear that one in mind. We're gonna try it like so. I just want to showcase exactly what a quick shot build can do. Again, it's for the galvanized, so we're gonna have to get a couple of stacks. So this is how it works. I'm gonna do a single shot in this guy, so you can see the number of procs you can get. Look at that. I don't know why they fly around the map like that. It's a new bug in the simulacrum. Look at that. One shot on the target, no problem whatsoever. My friends, a quick shot build on this weapon. Look at the damage. I'm just firing shot by shot. I'm not spamming. Although this is made for spamming, like this. The procs, more or less, are pretty consistent. The damage is pretty good. And as you can see, you can absolutely wreck house with a build such as this one. Of course, it doesn't really play to the uniqueness, to the quirkiness, to the cool fire thing of the Nataruk. Oh, by the way, that's the minus fire rate from critical delay. Ah, horrible, horrible. Now let me show you this one in Steel Path. And ta-da, we are back in the void. Now keep in mind, with a quick shot build, you do got the headshot multiplier. Yes, so you should be definitely going for headshots, as it does matter. The headshot multiplier does make a significant difference when it comes to DPS. Now let's see what the weapon can do. We just blew up a corrupted heavy gun. We got an ancient over here. Absolutely wrecked house. Enemies. Oh, by the way, I have the Panzer Vulpaphyla with me right now. So if you have the Panzer Vulpaphyla with you, you don't no longer need to use the 260-60 viral mods, right? You can make something like corrosive, or simply maybe play into your favorite mods. Or you can just keep it around. The Panzer Vulpaphyla, while fantastic, is not 100% reliable when it comes to the proc. Sometimes you just need the proc on the target and it's nowhere to be found. So do bear that one in mind. Now let's see what we can do to these targets. Absolutely wrecked house, even with the shield drone there, no problem whatsoever. Now of course we also got Corpus here, which are very easy to blow up, as you can see. The weapon does deal a truck and a half worth of damage, and it's 100% viable to go for a quick shot build. Again, it's not what the Nataruk is known for. The Nataruk is known for the new mechanic. Hey, you can release stuff at the opportune time and it'll be awesome because it makes this big projectile and it's fancy and all whatnot, but a quick shot build is more than viable. And I do believe, my friends, that's pretty much it. So let's wrap this thing up with some glorious Warframe buffs. And who better to showcase Warframe buffs if not the ever so lovely Lady Mirage Prime. Now one final note regarding mods, interactions and all whatnot with the Nataruk. This mod right here, Galvanized Aptitude. Now it does work. The whole explosion thing that you see from the charge shots or the perfect shots are nothing but visual effects, essentially, okay? So it's not an actual explosion per se. Galvanized Aptitude does work, but it works kind of kooky on this one. The damage numbers don't really line up. And not only that, they don't line up with the way the Galvanized Aptitude mod should work, and they don't line up with the damage numbers it's showing. It's showing a specific damage number on screen, but the targets don't seem to be taking the damage that the number suggests. So it's still a little bit funky. Galvanized Aptitude still kind of works kooky on certain weapons. Please, DE, soon it's gonna be a year since you launched these, could you please clarify? So there is that to bear in mind. And of course we're going to be using a perfect shot build because that's what you guys want to see. Don't you want to see the perfect shot? It was one-shotting before, of course it's going to be one-shotting now. This is my standard. I'm going to destroy everything with my weapon, Mirage Prime build. We're going to be using Avenger for more crit because why not? Arcane Rage, this one is for primary extra damage. We got more than enough damage. We can do something like Fire Rage. Arcane Acceleration. Where are you? It's supposed to be here somewhere. There we go, uncritical if 30%, hey, fantastic card game. So you can definitely try this one, there's more than enough damage. Companions, buffs from companions, 2 options. You can use the standard sentinel trick, right, like carrier, for example. You can get yourself carrier or any other sentinel, whatever, on that sentinel's weapon. Make sure you have the vigilante mods, yes, armaments, offense, supplies, and therefore you're going to be getting yourself that 20% chance to enhance critical hits from primary weapons. Second option, and the more popular options nowadays, is the Panzer Valpaphaila. Now this one is immortal, never bloody dies. And more importantly, it adds vital to your enemies. And if it adds vital to my enemies, that means that I am free to go over here into the build and not use vital mods anymore. I can just drop rhyme rounds, for example, use electricity instead, high voltage bzzzt, and all that good stuff. Gonna bump up the level to 160, not that it would make a huge difference. We're gonna be unpausing the AI so they can hit me and I can get my glorious, absolutely glorious buffs. And power, the Mirage's free ability for an absolutely outstanding Eclipse buff. One more time, and power, and the ever so lovely clones. Charge shot. They're gone. With the additional fire rate, it can be a little bit difficult to get consistent, perfect shots. But my god, when you get it and you can make use out of that infinite body punch through, it's absolutely fantastic. Of course, the weapon was one-shotting before, and it is one-shotting now. The fire rate, again, is a little bit on the subjective side. Take a look. It charges a whole lot faster than before. But if you can get into the rhythm of the weapon with some additional fire rate, then you're gonna be enjoying that extra DPS and basically just bombard everything that stands before you with these thick projectiles. Take a look at that. Absolutely fantastic. Now, the best advice I can give you, if you're gonna be going with fire rate, when you see orange, release, right? So you're gonna be aiming your bow at your target. When you see orange, you simply release. Now, for some conclusions when it comes to the Nataruk bow. I've seen a whole lot of exaggerations when it comes to this one, my friends. No, it's not one of the most powerful primary weapons in the game. It can't be. It's far from it. Not even in the same galaxy with some of the primary weapons that Warframe has to offer. Is it the most powerful bow in the game? No. Again, it can't be. Is it one hell of a weapon? Quirky, cool, powerful, and definitely worth the full build and the slot in your inventory? 100% recommend. As always, my name has been Leyzar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. And if you got any sorts of feedback for me, by all means, my friends, let me know in the comment section down below. Also in the comment section down below if you guys want to suggest any particular type of content. You can also find me on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all the usual places. And if you want to support the content, consider supporting us via Patreon. Link in the cards right now. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.